Now we are. Now we are. Go for it. Ready or not. All right. Well, Danii, thanks for joining us on our Stay at Home and Brew It. Um, what I wanted to kind of start off with is you're part of the North Texas chapter of the Pink Boots Society,
Yes, I am.
and there's a lot of people I think who aren't quite familiar with that. Can you tell us a little bit about what the Pink Boots Society is and what you're all about, what your kind of goal and mission is?
Yes, so Pink Boots Society is an international nonprofit that's focused on advancing women in the beer industry through education, inspiration, and assistance. We are really big on welcoming women from all aspects of craft beer into our organization, but
Okay.
specifically the North Texas chapter. We welcome in women who want to be a part of beer as well, because a lot of times if a group is too exclusive, it's like, how do we bring more women in? The North Texas chapter, we welcome all ladies.
Okay. Nice. In particular, y'all have a beer that y'all recently brewed together as a collaboration with, was it Hop and Sting?
Yes, that's one of the many that we've done for 2020.
Okay. So this is
Yeah.
not just one thing, but y'all have been doing a number of these collaboration brews.
Yes, this
Okay.
is our fifth brew for this year.
Okay. Well, the one in particular we're gonna talk a little bit about, I think, is the one that just came out, which is called She's Intense.
Yes.
Okay. What can you
And
tell
she is
us?
very intense. She lives up to her name.
Okay. What can you tell us about that?
So she is a triple dry hopped double IPA. So three times hops have been added after the actual brew day. Double meaning that it has double the ABV, so it's 8.5%.
Ooh.
And we dry hopped it with El Dorado, Azaka, Idaho, Laurel, and then added some Equinox and Trident hops as well.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. And from a flavor perspective, she's intense. She's smooth. She has a nice soft mouth feel. Balanced bitterness. You get a lot of tropical aromas, fruity aromas on the nose, as well as a hint of pininess. And when you're drinking it, or at least for me, when I'm drinking it, I
Hmm.
get a lot of passion fruit.
Oh, that sounds nice. Now, the sales of it, are there some proceeds that are going in for a particular cause or purpose, or um,
Yes, yes. So a portion of all of the Pink Boots brews that we do go to the Pink Boots Society. So a portion goes to national. So
mhm.
every time we do brew, we actually use a Pink Boots blend of hops. And this year, that blend is the El Dorado, Zaka, Idaho, and Laurel. And then another portion goes to the local chapter. And these proceeds actually help with educational endeavors, supplies for our meetings, scholarships for Cicerone and BJCP exams, and also helping ladies travel to GABF when there is, live events going on.
Okay, nice. Well, in particular, you talked a little bit about the fact that you did this triple dry hop edition. Is that the beer there?
Yes, it
Ah,
is.
very nice, very nice. You talked a little bit about the idea of that you were doing triple dry hop editions. We had a number of people here in the shop that will taste some of the double dry hop and triple dry hop IPAs, and they enjoy them, and they kind of want to be able to brew something similar. Is there any kind of hints or advice that you would give someone who's a homebrewer who's maybe wanting to try something similar to that?
So in all honesty, from a homebrew perspective, if you ask me like how to do this from home, I would just say like you can't. Like
Okay.
it's really hard. But if you really wanted to and you have the setup, what you could do, depending on what you have, is if you have the ability to rack from one vessel to another vessel
Oh
in a
yes.
closed system,
Mm-hmm.
like, and it's airtight and you're sure that it's airtight,
Mm-hmm.
then you can jump it from one vessel to a clean vessel that has the dry hops in it,
Okay.
and then do that again three times.
Okay.
If you don't have the ability to do that, then what you could do is like get a carb stone
Mm-hmm.
and like put it over your bucket maybe, and create a blanket of CO2 over the beer and do it that way. So you might still have oxygen, but if you have the CO2 blanket underneath it, you can hopefully keep it from being exposed to oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
But then, you're doing this multiple times. So there's a lot that could happen in that process. And then not to mention like how much beer you're going to lose. So home brewing, if you're doing like 5 gallons of beer,
Mm-hmm.
with all that true, you might end up with like two. So it's like
Okay.
a lot of work. It's a lot of work for very little bit of beer. You
Oh,
might want to bump it up to like 10% so that it's like worth it.
yeah. About what
Or
percent?
maybe like,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
About what percentage of loss did it occur when y'all made this batch? Because what size was the batch of She's Intense?
So we brewed 30 barrels,
Okay.
and I believe we brighted 20.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a huge amount of loss.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And it was 4 pounds per barrel of hops.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, per 4 pounds per barrel was what we used in terms of hops.
Okay. That's a healthy beer
A lot.
there.
Yes, she's intense.
It is intense indeed. Okay. Well, I mean, it sounds like kind of from what you're saying, if a homebrewer was to attempt it, and there are a number of homebrewers that do, are able to do closed transfers. It's not, it takes a little bit of setup with it. Obviously, CO2 connection, ability to kind of purge those containers or those vessels, and there's a few that can do it, but it's definitely an intense process. And from the sound of it, it hurt to lose that much beer.
Yeah, it would. Like if I was doing this at home, I'd be crying to the amount of loss. I just like I don't know. Like I did a double dry hopped on a 1 barrel system at
Okay.
Island to Island Brewery, and the law I think we got like 3 kegs out of it, and that was really painful.
Oh, I
And one of the
bet.
kegs, the hops was stuck in the keg. So
Oof. Oh my
that
goodness.
wasn't fun. So we
So,
technically got to sell two.
oh no. Well, so if someone was wanting to buy this beer and to find around the area now, I'm guessing it's not available outside probably the North Texas area, or
Some
is it?
people are getting outside the North Texas area.
Oh,
If you
really?
got the hookup, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I've heard reports of it being in New York City, in Florida, in
Wow.
Alaska, in North Carolina.
Uh huh.
I think someone in Detroit, Michigan has been asking about getting some.
Ah.
So,
Okay.
if people got the hookup and they find the right, they can get it.
Okay. Okay.
Um, but in terms of finding it here in the DFW, you can get it at On Tap in Arlington this weekend. Thirsty Growler, shout out to Andrea Gillum. She's a Pink Boots member, as well as Jazz, who's the owner of On Tap. You can get it at their locations.
Okay.
The Howling Mutt is getting another keg today. Growler, which is like a dog park
Hmm.
bar. It's
Okay.
kind of cool.
Hmm.
It's like they have like a weird pulley system where like you order a beer, it comes to you in a bucket, and then you put money in the bucket and it goes up. It's kind of social distancing thing, but
Okay.
it's cool.
Gotcha.
um, let's see where else we got it. Total Wine and Whole Foods
Okay.
are might get it if we don't sell out. It's in 10 specs throughout the DFW area.
Okay.
Fuel Up Mart, Beer Geek. Shout out to Beer Geeks. They sold out last Sunday. Denton Beer County. I mean, the list goes on. I don't know if
Okay.
you want me to run down
No,
it.
no, that's
Uh,
good. So there's a number of spots that we could get a hold of it if we wanted to. Okay.
yes, most definitely. So, and if people want to know what's close to them, I recommend that they hit me up on Instagram and like let me know where they are, and I
Okay.
can give them a list of what's around them that has it.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, in particular on this beer, you'd mentioned kind of some of the hops and stuff. What did the grain bill look like?
So we had wheat in there.
Just regular malted
I
wheat or
believe
flaked wheat or?
it was malted wheat.
Okay.
We did flaked oats,
Okay.
and I believe it was regular two row. I don't think it was anything special about the two row,
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't remember the percentages at all, do you?
It was 17% flaked malts.
Oh, really?
That
Okay.
much I do know. Yeah. So we went above average on the flake malts.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've been seeing a lot of people here lately buying huge amounts of flaked malts as people are trying their hand at some of those hazy IPAs and such. And so that's been kind of interesting to see that one of the guys in the shop who's been here for a long time, his name is Austin, mentioned that if you would have told him years ago that people would be putting this much flaked grains in their beers, he would have told you that we were crazy.
Yeah.
It's kind of a whole different world. Now,
Yeah.
now you came originally. Well, you came to us from New York, correct?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. So what brought you from brewing in Brooklyn, wasn't it? Okay.
Yes.
What brought you from brewing in Brooklyn to coming down here to brew and be a part of Texas?
Well, the number one reason was because what I was doing in Brooklyn, New York was seen as crazy. And
Okay.
every time I came to visit y'all down here, it was like, what I'm doing is regular. Like, it's
Hmm.
just normal. So I was like, why would I fight to sell beer in a place where people are like, you're crazy, you can't do that? Or everyone's like trying to bite off of each other to do the same thing. Whereas here in Texas, y'all doing your thing. Everyone is unique. You can identify the beers, and the community supports local. Like that is the biggest thing about the DFW, about Texas. Y'all
Mm-hmm.
support local. You go to an average New Yorker on the street and ask them who their local brewery is, and they'll look at you like, "What's a brewery?"
Hmm. Okay.
So it's like it's a fight. And then in light of the times that we're in currently, I mean, I think why I'm here is even more heightened. The fact that in New York you live with rats, mice, and roaches, and like those are your roommates in your
Oh.
apartment.
Oh. No thanks.
Yeah, like yeah.
We just have
I live with the
snakes and stuff like
birds, I
that.
live with the rabbits. Yeah, like some snakes, some deer, some cows, some sheep. Like I think I'll take big farm animals over rodents living in my house.
Yeah. Most
So
most of the things we
yeah.
have down here, you can see or hear them coming. So
Mm.
now one thing, I've been up to New York State a couple of times, and one of the things I noticed up there, and when I was speaking to you on the phone earlier, today you'd mentioned this, that up there they have a concept of what's called a farm brewery,
Yes, that's
and
what
that
I are.
and that's something that's not as familiar to those of us here in Texas. I mean, how would you explain a farm brewery?
So the Farm Brewery is honestly an amazing license. Like I am so grateful for the Farm Brewery license because it was able to get me started.
Okay.
One, it gives you the privilege to manufacture your own beer, to sell it wholesale or distribute it, and to retail it direct to consumer or give it away.
Okay.
So with that license, I fall into all three tiers, which here in Texas, you got to pick one. And also, part of that privilege is that if you want to sell other beverages other than your own beer, it can be beer, it can be wine, cider, or spirits. It
Mm-hmm.
has to be New York labeled.
Okay.
And when you make beer, you have to use, at this point in time, 60% New York grown hops and New York grown malts.
Okay.
So that is support the local agriculture as well as supporting other local businesses. So
Wow.
it truly is the heart and spirit of supporting local. And I really think that Texas laws belong in New York and New York Farm Brewery law belongs in Texas in
Okay.
terms of who people are,
Hmm.
where their mindsets are, to be honest with you.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, the farm brewery thing I thought was very interesting when I was up there. There's a number of places that operate under that, and it was neat to hear that they've done that to support the local farmers and the local agricultural stuff. But going back to the beer, I wanted to ask you. Do you know? Did y'all do anything with changing your water profile when you did it? I mean, is the water here in Texas pretty good, or how have you encountered it?
So the water here in Texas, I get mixed information on. I use RO or spring water when I'm brewing, but I know that a lot of breweries have issues at different times of the year where the pH is off in
Mm-hmm.
the local water, so they have to make adjustments for that.
Okay.
For this year, we did adjust the water. We added calcium chloride and gypsum.
Okay.
And I learned through that process that you can't mix those two together ahead of time because it'll give a heat reaction and you
Yeah.
might get burned.
Yeah. Don't do that.
So, So I was very careful not to do that,
Good, good.
especially on a brew deck that was not made for a short person like myself. But yes, we did calcium chloride and gypsum that we added to the mash tun.
Okay, gotcha. Was it a little bit higher on your chlorides or on your sulfates?
I don't really know what the mixture was,
Okay,
to be
okay,
honest with you. It was given to me.
okay,
I would
gotcha.
have liked to been there to measure it out myself, but I was too busy lifting 450 pounds of flaked oats.
Okay, that is a lot of oats. Um,
Yeah, so I
yeah,
got to work out.
yeah. From what I've seen, most oftentimes it seems like most people when they're making the hazies will boost the chlorides to make sure they're kind of getting that softer mouth feel with the beer and along with all the with that huge load of hops, they're making sure they get kind of that soft profile to the mouth feel. So, um, now somebody had asked a question in the chat of ours a little bit ago that asked, "Is Pink Boot Society open to amateur membership, or is it only for professional brewers?" Or
So technically, Pink Boots is for professionals. So they
okay,
ask you if you're earning from beer. But that spectrum of professionals is wide. So if you are a writer, if you are a promoter, if you do tastings for craft beer, you're helping to sell craft beer. So
okay,
you are considered. If you're an author, a journalist,
okay,
you're considered. If you're a blogger, you're considered. So you don't have to necessarily work for a brewery.
okay,
You can be on the promotion or the sales side. So a podcaster could be part of the Pink Boots because they have a business, and if they're earning from advertising, beer is helping them make their living.
gotcha.
It's kind of a weird gray area because as an owner, I didn't think I belonged in the group for a very long time because I don't make an income from beer. I just kind of make it happen
Okay,
and hope that the bills for the business are paid.
well,
So I
that's
couldn't prove
helpful.
income for a long time, and proving income was what I thought one of the things were.
Okay,
Not necessarily. It is that you are working for the advancement of beer professionally.
gotcha. Okay. One thing, and this is a little bit off of the talking about y'all's current beer. I noticed from reading some stuff on Island to Island Brewing, which was your website for your brewery. You'd mentioned that your Caribbean roots helped to influence a lot of your brewing. Do you still see that as so, or not?
Oh, excuse me. She's intense.
That's all right.
um, Very much so.
Okay.
And because a lot of people, when they talk about like their background, how they got to professional craft brewing, they talk about being a home brewer, or they talk about walking into a brewery and being inspired by that brewery and getting a job there and working their way up from the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
My story is a lot different. Like I didn't know that women in beer wasn't a thing.
Okay.
Like I grew up with women in beer. That's my life. My first sips of beer came from my aunts in the backyard of every family barbecue.
Hmm.
So it was only ever women giving me beer. I've only seen the women in my family brew beer. So they've been brewing beer from produce that they got off the land from their gardens or their farms my whole life. And that's a
Okay.
process that I've been watching. They take some of it, they make a little juice, give it to the kids, put yeast in another vessel, stick it up on top of the cabinet. And if we climb up there and drank some, we fell asleep for the afternoon. Woke up, it's like, where did time go?
Yeah, I bet.
So brewing is a part of my heritage. And, as much as I did not want my culture to be a part of my business,
Mm-hmm.
it is my story, point blank, period.
Nice. Very
Yeah.
nice. Well, let's see. I'm trying to see if we have any other questions from the chat. We don't right now. What you said you've done several collaborations. What's your next collaboration? You'll have one coming up
Uh,
or not?
well, see, things are kind of on hold because we don't know what's going on with
I gotcha.
coronavirus and the shutdowns and everything. So we don't know what our next one is going to be. And I don't even know if I'm allowed to say what the next one was supposed to be.
Okay,
It
that's fine.
definitely was supposed to be a bigger brewery. So we were supposed to step up our batch size. I believe we were supposed to double it.
Wow.
So, I mean, you can do deductive reasoning of what breweries in DFW can double Hoppenstein.
Okay.
Um, There's definitely talks of doing something else with Hop and Sting. They definitely want to work with us again.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I don't know what's in the future.
Okay.
We're all just living day by day.
Okay. Well, hopefully I'll be able to do some more collaborations, and we'll be able to see some of these beers coming out even more. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Like, but I can tell you about like our other ones that we've done. If
Okay. What was
you
the
want to
last
know.
one, or the one right before
So
this?
the one before this was at Hop Fusion Ale Works. We did 16 barrels of a clean Berliner
Okay.
Weiss. And so by clean, we mean we didn't have to kettle sour it. We didn't have to add any lacto to it. We used a new proprietary yeast that soured it and actually finished the beer in 3 days,
Okay.
leaving it super duper clear, which we found to be like a magic trick because we added wheat to the beer and thought that it would be a little hazy.
Yeah.
And it was
Oh,
super clear,
nice.
delicious. And it's perfect for the summertime.
Okay. What was that yeast that you were using?
I don't remember the name of it, but I know that everyone is under an NDA about it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Well.
yeah.
All right. Well, let's
It's
see.
from Fermentus, I believe, if I'm
Okay.
not mistaken.
Stubby, do you remember what that strain is?
What?
It's a strain that sours, but
That's Lollemon.
oh, it's Lallemand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Has
There you go. You guys know.
Cerevisier, but it still produces lactic acid.
Okay, nice. So it's a regular beer yeast that produces lactic
Yeah,
acid.
it's the same. You can
Yeah.
get it when we have it in the homebrew pitch. It's sour pitch.
It's called sour pitch for the homebrewers. So for those of y'all out there, if you
Also, you can buy it.
yes.
So what's all this NDA business?
I don't know.
I'm not sure. I fill orders and milk grain. My goodness. Well, I mean, I wasn't able to get any of the beer before we were able to speak right now, but I'm gonna try and pick up some maybe tonight on my way home. I noticed there's a couple of
Yes.
places I'll be passing, so I can get a hold of it.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely have to try some She's Intense, and maybe I'll share it with some others too.
Not maybe. Come on.
Okay, I will. I will. I'll bring some up to the shop.
Thank you.
Of course,
Appreciate it.
of course. All
And
right.
I apologize that I didn't bring you guys a pack when I was there last week.
No
It
worries.
was an oversight on my part. So I'm sorry.
No worries. Oh, actually, Eric chimed in. He said his wife and he have had many growlers or many crowlers of that beer, so must be pretty good.
Thanks for supporting the ladies.
Wonderful. Well, again, Danii, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate you sharing a little bit of information about the Pink Boots Society, as well as sharing with us the info about the beer that y'all brewed and how that's helping the brewing community, in particular women who are in the brewing community. And we appreciate your time. I know you're busy, so we appreciate you taking your time out of your schedule.
Not really.
Okay. I always assume everyone's busy.
No. We're not that busy. I'm just trying to move, 30 cases and 8 kegs that we have left.
Gotcha.
Just trying to get it sold out by this week. But no, not really busy, unfortunately.
Okay.
It's been a lonely time.
Okay.
So
Well, hopefully things will turn around here soon for all of us.
yeah. I look forward to seeing you all again and hanging out in the shop for absolutely no reason other than to shoot the shit with y'all and drink beer.
That sounds awesome.
All right.
All right,
Cheers,
Danii. Well, thank you so much for everything, and cheers.
Cheers.